Hello and welcome to Live with the Pricing Lady. I am Janine Liston, your hostess, also known as the Pricing Lady, and I'm thrilled to have you here with us today. This show is all about helping you to build better pricing strategies in your business, ultimately so that you can have a more sustainably profitable business for the long term, because you'll be closing more deals and getting the right prices for them. Today on the show, we're going to talk about value pricing. Now, value pricing is one of those things that you mention to people, when you do what I do at least, you mention to people quite often, and they all shake their heads, yeah, I should price based on value. However, my experience is, and my suspicion often is that people really don't understand what that means, what it really involves, and what it means in their business. So then they go to the fallbacks. In your product-based businesses, they heavily rely on cost-plus pricing. And in your service-based businesses, they more heavily rely on comparing versus or pricing versus the competition. What I want to do today is I want to dig a little bit deeper and help you to really understand what value pricing is, what it can do for your business, and what you need to do in order to start utilizing it. Now, one of the best things about pricing is you can use hybrids, right? So you can use cost plus and value pricing, or cost plus versus the competition and value pricing, right? So you can mix and match these depending on what's going to be most suitable for your business. However, I will say this. I very, very strongly believe that value pricing is appropriate for the vast majority of companies out there. And it should be the cornerstone of what most companies are doing. And then you can add in a check on the competition and your position in the marketplace, as well as you should also always check your cost and profit situation. But lead with value pricing, and let's look at why. So the first thing that I want to talk to you about, or we need to understand, is what value pricing is. Now, in the simplest way that I can explain it is that value pricing is setting your prices based on a percentage of the economic value a customer gets, either from your service or your product. So in order to do value pricing, you are going to have to understand and put some numbers to the value that people are going to get from what you're using. Now, you may or may not share that number with them, but what's really important is that you understand it. So what is good about value pricing? There's a few things here. I've made myself some notes so that I make sure I capture everything for you. So first of all, when you do value pricing in your business, your prices are a reflection of the impact of what you deliver to them. So if the impact of your product saves them time and money, your prices or price levels will reflect that. If the services that you offer help them be more competitive and therefore get more sales, then your prices will reflect that additional economic value that customers see. Next, especially in service-based businesses where the alternative is pricing time, either days, half days, hours, things like this, it focuses you, or let me put it this way, I'll come back to focus in a moment, that you're not limited by time. So if you in your business help someone save 10,000 francs or $10,000 or even $200 in 5 minutes, should you only be paid for 5 minutes of your time, or should you be paid based on the value that you're bringing them? And value pricing says you help them out based on the value. Next, it focuses both you and the client on the value that they're getting as opposed to the time that you're spending. Your value is then linked to your experience, your know-how, your skills, and that's what, especially in service-based businesses, customers are really looking for. But also in your product-based businesses, they're looking for companies who have had these products and used them and worked with them and developed them over time, who've developed an expertise in how to use them and built products based on that expertise and know-how. So that means it's the same situation. When you're able to price based on value, then you're actually focused more on what people are getting and less on the time you're spending with them and or the functions and features that you have. Now, hopefully your functions and features will bring you to the value, but sometimes with products that can be also overestimated, let's put it that way. You're rewarded when you do value pricing for your skills, your know-how, your experience, as we said before, and you're also, from a product's perspective, you're rewarded for how the features and functionality of your product helps your customers. So those are really the good things, because it really focuses you both, not just your customer, not just you, but both of you, on what's the value they're getting out of it. How is it going to help them reach the goals that they have or do the things that they want to do? Now, why is it difficult, or what is the challenge in value pricing? So the downside, if you will, of value pricing is that you really have to understand your customers and do so at a deeper level. You have to understand what motivates them, what they really value in solutions from you, what they're looking for. You have to really get into that and understand that at a much deeper level than if you're just pricing versus the competition or based on a cost structure. You have to let go. If you're in a service-based industry, you kind of have to let go of time, which means you're going to take a little bit more risk, especially early in your business, where maybe you haven't done a lot of projects or a lot of work and you're not sure how much time it's going to take to. Well, you kind of have to let go of that and say, okay, on some of them, time-wise, I'm going to be okay. On other ones, time-wise, I might be a little bit tighter. But you have to just be okay with it and say, okay, I'm going to deliver to this customer based on these results as opposed to this amount of time. And if you've been working as a freelancer or on a time-based way in the past, it may be a little bit tricky for you to let go of that at first. But once you do, it opens you up, and it opens your pricing and how you operate in your business. It opens that up and has great rewards to it. From a product perspective, you can also then have, I'm trying to read my own handwriting here and figure out what I meant by that. So a challenge is, yes, with products, you have to actually feel that, because you hand this product over to a customer and then they use it. Now, if there's no service support involved in that, then you have to have the confidence in the product that you've designed and that customer that they will actually be able to extract the value of it. Let's face it, we've all bought things, couldn't figure out how to use it, and stuck it in a drawer at some point in time. Or we have things that we use, but we really only use a small percentage of the features of it, either because we can't be bothered, we don't need them, or we can't figure them out. Now here, in this case, you may not be getting as a customer, you may not be getting all the value, but you might actually have paid for it. So as a product-based business, this can be a downside, because you have to have that confidence. So you have to make products that are user-friendly enough that people can actually extract the value. So those are some of the challenges of value-based pricing. Now, in my experience, in most businesses, especially small businesses, the benefits of value pricing are going to far outweigh the challenges, but there are some growing pains. Now, let's look at a couple of examples of what I mean by defining the economic value, right? So let's say start first with an example of you're a photographer and you're going to be doing photography for small product-based businesses, okay? So what do they really want? You have to understand, what do they want in these photos? How are they going to use these photos? Are they looking for someone just to snap a few shots? Or are they looking for someone to be more of a partner with them and engage with them and maybe even their clients in how the clients are using the product? That will be very different. If somebody's just looking for somebody to take the products, take a few photos, and send them photos. It's a very different value proposition than if they're looking for a partner and someone to come on site with them, maybe go and visit some of their customers on site as well. And so what you want to do is you want to understand, how are you helping this business, this client of yours, in terms of saving money in their business? It could also be time saving, which is money, how you're helping them do more business, how you're helping them be more competitive. These are the types of things that you want to quantify. So maybe you know that when they have these photos, they will have everything that they need for social media campaigns and their website. And that means that they will be more visible out there in the world and be getting, having more customers or potential customers come to them and potentially selling more. So let's say you estimate they could earn another 5% of sales with this. Well, if you have a feeling or the know-how, how much they're making in a year or bringing in on average, then you can actually say, well, 5% of that is the economic value of, or part of the economic value of what I can bring you. And then you can set your price based on that. Another example that we can look at is software as a service. So software as a service is a very, very popular area these days, with a lot of really interesting pricing examples as well. Now, what happens quite often with software as a service is there are a lot of efficiency gains. So you can save X amount of time. So if you're a small business owner and you buy a software to help you be more efficient in your business, that may save you, a half a day a week, or even, depending on the business, a half a day a month, right? Well, a half a day that you could be then spending working with your clients and billing those hours out. So if in a half a day you make 1,000 francs, that would be 1,000 francs savings a month, if it was 4 hours a month, that you'd be saving them. And that repeats on and on as they continue to use your software. So you could say to yourself, well, over a 6-month period, that would be 6,000 francs in savings. So my price is going to be a portion of that. Now, again, in some cases, you're going to share or ask questions to help customers understand the economic value that they get from working with you and your products or your services. And other times you're going to keep that information to yourself. Sometimes you're going to come right out and say, I can help you increase this or decrease that or improve this, and you're going to give them hard, concrete numbers. Now, when you give them those concrete numbers, you want to make sure that your price is lower than the economic value they're going to achieve. Now, sometimes people ask me, well, should it be 10% or 30% or 80%? That's a judgment call for yourself. So a couple of things that will drive which direction you go are, what do you need to be profitable? And where does that position you in the market? So if you position yourself at 80% of that economic value that you've estimated, that may mean that you're way overpriced compared to competition, and it'll be very difficult for you to sell. On the other hand, if you say price yourself at 10% of that economic value that your customers derive from this, then when you do your cost calculation, you may find out that you're actually not turning a profit with that. That's why I say it's really important to use a hybrid. So these are things that you want to think about. The most important thing you have to remember with value pricing is the first step is shifting your own thinking, your mindset in your own day-to-day work and how you're going to approach that. And in my experience working with clients, the biggest shift comes when they start to understand how much economic value they can potentially deliver to a customer. Because what happens here, and this just happened with a client a month or so ago, they were making an offer for, say, about $500,000, and the client was at risk for the client themselves was something like over $1 billion. And they were making an offer for $500,000. Well, if somebody told me if I gave them $500,000, they'd give me back $1 billion, even if it took 2 years, 10 years, I'd probably go out and find the money. We call that a no-brainer, right? And so this is how you make that shift to understanding and being more comfortable with value pricing, because you really understand the economic value that you can bring to your customers and clients, either through your products and or through your services. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I wanted to share with you today. I hope that, let me rephrase that, value pricing is really a fantastic tool. And for small businesses, I think it's going to be the best way for you to proceed. So lead with value pricing, and then make sure you bring in your cost and profit check and your marketplace check as well. That to me is going to give you the best pricing and the best balance between bringing value to your customers and you being rewarded for that value at the same time. So it becomes a win-win for all parties involved. Now, if you'd like to know more about how to do pricing better in your business, you can always go over to this link, JanineListon.com/discovery call, and book a call with me. We'll have a short chat about what you're doing with pricing, where you're having some challenges, and we can figure out how I might best be able to help you. That's all for today, folks. I wish you all the best, and as always, enjoy pricing, everyone.